All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome to the final episode of the four-course bundle. Now, wanted to take a moment to do this episode for you, very, very powerful, because as you're coming out of, you learned the Mastering Price Action course. Now you've gone through almost 6 months of the four-course bundle. Now, there is a lot of information in your brain right now, okay? A lot of correct information, if you want to put it. You've seen it, you've applied it, you know it works. However, there is one thing that differentiates from knowing and doing, okay? This is a very, very critical moment. It's a crossroad for you where you have to make a decision today of what do you want from life? Why is it that you spent 6 months learning this stuff plus another 7 weeks learning the MPA course, the Mastering Price Action course? What are you trying to accomplish? Okay? How much of that you're trying to accomplish do you feel in your inner body that I need to do this no matter what? This is absolute important to me. Or is this something, I would like to be a trader, right? Do you normally just, when you have a desire, just a simple desire, you spend 6 months learning something just for a desire? No. So you need to respect yourself when it comes to, I joined this long for something because I want to kick ass in life. I want to be better than the average. Okay, now let's discuss this. There's average, and then there's pro, and then there's people who don't give a crap about life, right? Okay? We all live on the same earth. We all eat the same food. We all use the same toilet. Okay? Now, there is no difference between. The only thing that makes a difference is how you think. Okay? Always remember this, is how you think. And what you do with the information you have at hand. Do you want to be a bookworm where you just cram information into your mind over and over and over again just so you can feel superior and powerful, but then have nothing to show for it? Right? What good is intellect apart from a dinner conversation? What good is intellect if you cannot use it for your own benefit? Okay? Ask yourself that question. What good is it watching the news 24 hours a day for the sake of being informed when in reality the only thing that you're doing is being fearful or prejudiced or angry? How did you better your own life? Think about that. So with the information you have at hand now is information that a very select few have in the world. Okay? You now have unlocked the power of how the human mind reacts with the markets. Okay? We still have more to cover, obviously. There is a whole new money management site coming out, which I'll let you guys know via email regarding that. But at this stage, you're at the crossroads of, okay, I'm coming to a point where it should be like, well, how far can I take this? Okay, I've studied quite a bit. 6 months is a very long time. You've done your work, you've done your research, you've done your applications, you failed, you tried, you've had some successes, you failed, you've gone through this process. Now, in this process, there's going to be two types of people. Okay, I'm going to say the left side and the right side. The left side is going to be saying, I win sometimes, I lose sometimes, but majority are winners, so okay, I guess that's okay. Okay, that's one side of thought process. The other side of thought process is the same mentality, but then why do I lose? What is it that makes me lose? And chances are the people who realize that are doing post-analysis, right? In post-analysis, what you're going to notice is there's a lot to do with psychology. A lot of it. Okay, if you've watched, some of the MPA webinars, the psychological webinars that I've done online, this shows you how critical your brain plays a role in how successful you're going to be. Okay, you've got the knowledge, you've got the skills, you're at the best company in the world to train you Forex. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. But now, what do you have to show for it? So this is the crossroad. What I'm trying to tell you guys is you're at the stage where you need to look yourself in the mirror and be like, what am I doing with my life? I need to push further. I've got the skills, I've got the talent, and I've got the support. What's stopping me? why am I not the best person in my zip code? Why am I not the richest person in my city? Why am I not better than the average person who's just lazy and saying I need to get a welfare paycheck from the government because it's their job. They're supposed to take care of me. No. No. They're taking care of you because there's people with a lot of money paying into the system to be able to take care of you. Okay? So you gotta understand this logic. Do you want to be the person who looks for the job, or do you want to be the person who hands out the job? Right? There's a big difference there. Okay? So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of story. Like growing up, my mom and dad, they were, Indian family, typical. They're like, I want you to study hard, go to school, get the best grades. We're gonna do whatever we can. We didn't get an education, blah blah blah. They gave me that emotional speech, which is every parent's job. They want to do whatever they can, emotionally, physical abuse or whatever. They do whatever they can, whatever they think is right, because obviously they're not experts also, but they do whatever they can in their power to motivate you enough to do better in life. Now, my dad ran a pretty decent business. We were living out in Korea. He was into textile industry. He ran a pretty decent business. However, his whole mindset was, I need to send my son to school, and then school to college, and he's going to graduate, and he's going to get a white-collar job. He's not going to do this stuff that I do. Now, he's in textiles. He's a businessman. He wears nice suits and everything, goes into work every single day. He has an office in one of the most prestigious buildings in Korea, and he's doing quite well for himself. But for me, he wanted me to go the educational route because he was trained by society that that's where the freedom is. Now, I went that route. So I went the route of I finished up high school, I got into college, and I'm in college, and I'm studying all kinds of weird stuff, right? I've studied in college for 7 years before I dropped out. 7 years, I'm trying to find myself. What is it for me? What do I want to do? I went from one degree to the next, to the next, to the next. I had enough education behind me to take 3 degrees simultaneously. But I never took any of them because it just didn't make sense. When would I ever use this? Why do I even need this? It doesn't make any sense. Where do I fit in all of this? Okay? And then I sat down one day, and this is the story, only my close friends know, and I'm now opening it up to you guys. Then I sat down one day, and I was like, okay, well, I got a job at BB&T Bank. This is even before I graduate, right? I got a job with this bank, and they're paying me big bucks, okay? $50,000 a year. Of course, that's with commissions and all that stuff. And they're also paying for my cell phone. They're giving me mileage for my car. So I'm living according to what people call, I'm living the good life, right? $50,000 a year plus all these benefits, health insurance, blah, 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 all that stuff, weekends off, work only X amount of days, 5 days a week. From the 5 days a week, I'm working only 5 hours a day. The other time is just administrative work. It's easy stuff. So I got a dream job. I'm only 21, right? I just turned 21, and I've got like this job that's paying me so high, and yet at that place, I sit down in the office one day at the bank. I had my own office. I was managing a good amount of branches under me. I had 32 branches under me that I was managing. I'm 21, no degree, no experience, but I knew my stuff. That's the reason why they hired me. And they needed somebody. But every day they would come to me, every other day I would say, like on the phone whenever we had meetings, hey Naveen, you need to go get your degree so we can justify your position in the company. Hey Naveen, you need to go get your degree. So I always had this thing in my head, it's like, it doesn't matter what you know. In that industry outside, you're just purely ranked on, well, what does your paper say? Because we obviously cannot see your skills. We need to see your paper so we know for sure. You know what I mean? So I went through that process. I was in there for 1 year, and I was making good money, and I was probably one of the best performing people they had in there. But I used to do my numbers. I was getting my income, I was paying my taxes, and then I had the money left over, and I was taking that money and I paid my rent, I paid my, all my other bills that I had, my electricity, blah, 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 that I had from my house, and my groceries. And then I had some money left over. And then I went out and I bought the stuff that my dad normally used to buy for me, right? I went out and I bought some Armani shirts, and I bought some nice pants and this and that. And then I saw my bill racked up close to $1,000, okay, for that shopping that one day. Now, most people say I can afford it, so it's fine. But I didn't think that way. What I thought was, wait a minute, let me try to understand this correctly. I just racked up a bill for $1,000. This is something my dad used to spend on me alone, okay, regularly. I did this once in a while when I was working, but my dad did this on me regularly. My mom was a housewife, so he also took care of my mom, gave her whatever she wants. She drives a car, she has jewelry, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's always treating her nicely, and whatever she wants to fly, he lets her fly. And he's taking care of the family, and he's paying rent, and we lived in a nice house, and he has a car as well, and I went to a private school. Now, that shocked me a little bit. It's like, if I continue to work at the pace I'm going, at the best artist I am at my work, what's my next salary going to be? 60? 65? 10 years down the line, what's my salary? 70? 80? Okay, and then I make it to 100, 120, $120,000 per year. Okay, what now? Okay, am I still free, or can I only take care of myself? See, what I didn't understand is, why did my dad send me to college when he clearly knows there's more money in what he was doing versus what I was going to do? See, he looked at it like, I need to give my son an easier life. Okay? Why do all this hard work? Okay? Now, this is a common thing between most parents. A lot of parents want to give their children, they want them to not go through what they went through, as if what they're going through is the worst thing in the world. And that's not the case. Kids don't care. Kids don't really care. They will, once they see the light, they're going to be like, oh yeah, this is what my family always does. I'm happy to do this again. Okay? So when you look at it in that terms, that's when the light bulb clicked for me, and I was like, while I was going to college, and I was at my job, I was like, there is no way I'm ever gonna make money even close to what my dad is making. My dad wasn't making so much money. He was probably doing $800,000 a year or something like that. Nothing too much, just survivable for one family nicely. Okay, and in today's world, $800,000 for one family is okay. It's not, you won't get luxury, but you will live a very comfortable middle class life. Very, very comfortable middle class life, right? You can go to vacations, you can take time off. If your son or daughter can't find a job, that's fine. You got money to back them up. If your spouse loses his or her income, that's okay. We're doing fine. So that's the leverage you have of, making around that kind of money. So I always had this confusion. I used to sit down with my dad as like, why did you send me this route if your route seems to be better? And he's like, well, for that very reason that you're here today with me, questioning me. And I didn't understand it for the longest time of what that meant. But that to me was not my first gateway to there's more to it. It just can't be, okay, I got 50,000, I need to get 60,000, I need to get 100,000, I need to get 120,000, and then of course more money, bigger cars, bigger bills, bigger tax, bigger everything. So it's like, well, what's the point? I'm doing the same thing over and over again. But let's not forget, higher salary in any company automatically means higher responsibility. Isn't that right? So I'm working towards a system where it's not actually really comfortable. So I started to work backwards. I was like, okay, no. This can't be. Gave in my notice. Okay? Scariest part of my life. Gave in my notice. everyone was confused. They're like, "Why are you leaving, man? Dude, you're 21. You're making this kind of money. It doesn't make any sense." My mom was looking at me like as if like I'm stupid, obviously, because my mom, it didn't make any sense for her. She's like, "What's wrong with you? You're in America. You're this and that. You're doing so well for yourself. You don't even have a degree and you're making this kind of money. Imagine when you do have a degree." Like she's always painting the picture for me in the future. She's like, you can do so well for yourself. And I get it. I get where she was coming from because her whole life was she wasn't so educated, but she saw people who were educated and they were making 80, 90, $100,000 per year, and she only saw the good parts of those people. The people who were making that kind of money and then buying a better car to go to work all day, to get a promotion, to then buy a better house closer to the job, to go to work, to get a higher promotion, to buy a better car, to go to work. And this cycle just didn't make any sense to me. The more money an individual made, the more he would adjust his life to get closer to the company. It doesn't make any sense. He wants to live in the city because he wants to be closer to the company. He wants to get a better car because he wants to look good in the company. You know what I mean? Like, all the income was spent for that. Then I started working even further backwards. It's like, okay. Let's get this right. So I'm working in this company, and they're giving me this wonderful 2 weeks off a year. Wow. I work 11 months and 2 weeks, and I get 2 weeks off, paid, of course, to myself as a vacation. That's fantastic. Now, this 2 weeks off that I'm getting around the holiday seasons. Okay, so now it's December. Okay, my first December at the firm. And I'm looking at it, I'm excited. My first holiday coming up. I'm super stoked. And I'm like, good, I have money to spare. I want to go on a vacation. Where do I go? And I open up the computer. I look on travel websites, and I start to realize everything is so expensive because everyone is looking to travel at this time. So all the money I made throughout the year was to be now spent in that 2-week period where everyone wants to travel. Everyone wants to have a great time. So an economy class flight would cost me what I now today pay for business class flights. It didn't make any sense. And not to mention, sorry, the flight's been delayed. The flight is tomorrow. This was a common occurrence as well. Okay? So I was living in this weird trapped life that didn't make any sense to me. And I'm just sitting there, and I went through a year living in this trapped idea of like, I don't understand this logic. But I didn't do anything. You see, I wasn't a performance artist at that time. I didn't do anything. And then when the time came, I had a talk with my dad, and my dad's like, well, look, you gotta find your own path in life. You gotta find what you need to do. Okay? My mom was like, you guys are stupid. You're encouraging my son to let go of security. And my dad was like, well, he's a Prithiani. It's like he needs to find his own way. So I was lucky enough to have a crazy dad like that who went. My dad is more scared than my mom is. Like, he's more fearful. Okay, so being a person who's so fearful, I can already tell it takes a lot of guts for him to be like, you know what, if you want to quit your job, do it. So I quit my job, and then I'm starting to think about trading, because during this whole process I was always trading at home. But then I just couldn't break the barriers. If you ever see, if you ever, maybe we can interview some of my friends back in the day, bring them online and stuff like that one day. They'll tell you, I used to come into Naveen's house, and I was renting a basement back in the day because that's all I could afford. But it was a nice basement, right? I was paying rent and everything. So this basement that I had was before the job at the bank. So I was first working at Dairy Queen as an ice cream store. That was my first job. I was making around $1,200 a month, something like that, and working 6 days a week, 11 hours a day. And from that, I would pay a good 30% or 40% in rent, and I had a basement, basically. That was my rent, and the basement wasn't, closed or anything. I had to walk down to my basement from someone else's house. And the people were nice, wonderful people. So, in this basement, friends used to come by and be like, hey man, we got a party, you want to come, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, what are you doing here? Because all they would see is papers everywhere all across the floor, because I'm trying to find the next best strategy to break out of this cycle that I'm stuck in, right? Because I'm feeling that I'm stuck somewhere, but I just don't know what to do. My dad doesn't have the answers because he doesn't know, what I'm supposed to do. He's like, you got to find your own journey. My mom says, obviously, do the job, but the job doesn't make any sense to me. So my gut feeling is telling me something is wrong, while my brain's telling you, hey man, it's safe, just stay. Just stay in your company. You're doing well. Just stay. But luckily, logic, came in and it kept bugging my heart saying, no, I can't even afford a nice Mercedes. This doesn't even make any sense. And I'm watching people in my neighborhood drive their nice cars and everything, and I was like, just the payment of those cars alone, not to mention their house, would be their entire salary, even if they were very highly positioned in a company. And I was like, oh my God, this is starting to make no sense to me. It's going backwards. Because I'm working to get luxury, but luxury is unaffordable. So I'm confused of like, why am I working? It didn't make any sense to me. So going through this process, I gave in my notice, quit my job, quit school, okay, dropped out of college. I started working, okay. This is still early 2008. This is before I opened up Urban Forex. And I'm working towards learning everything I could possibly learn about it. But my entire year was spent on what's the golden key, okay? Which means, obviously, there's nothing wrong with me because I'm a high-paid employee. There's nothing wrong with me. All I need to find out is how do I do trading correctly. That's all I need to do. There is absolutely nothing wrong with me. That is the idea. I am smarter than the average person. That's what I used to believe, right? But all I need was a strategy, a winning strategy. So the hunt began. The hunt began that I need to find the absolute best system out there to make sure that I win and win and win and win and win, and I can fulfill my dreams. So obviously you guys all know how that ends up, okay? You guys have been there, done that also. Obviously you guys are not going through it anymore, but you've been there, done that, right? And I was going through it at that stage, and obviously the answer was nothing. Blowing through my savings at a very fast rate because I'm living in the States. Obviously States is a little bit more expensive. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to India. Now, I never lived in India, but I do know it's cheap. And I don't have any visa problems because I had an Indian passport. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to India. But I don't want to live with my family because Indian relatives have a lot of drama. Trust me. Anything you do is wrong. If you do the right thing, it's wrong. If you do the wrong thing, it's wrong. There's zero support. And if there is support, it comes with a little bash on the side that's like a little cynical way of saying, I don't agree with what you're doing. Or I know better. So I didn't want to live close to any family whatsoever. Okay, families had their own way of saying, hey, you're wrong, I'm right. Okay, and this happens a lot. And families who do support you, you can clearly tell that there is no really support there. They're just doing their job as a family member to support you. So you don't feel the real love. The only place you can feel that is with friends. Okay, true friends. Of course, not acquaintances, but true friends. They're the only ones who will tell it to you as it is. Okay, parents are doing their job as a parent. Family members are doing their job as a family member, either to bash you or to support you. But it's just a job because you can feel it as a child. Is there real feeling of support in there, or is it just words because they're trying to do their job and trying to be supportful? Okay? So the real feelings most kids get is from their friends. Okay? And this is where most parents fail to misunderstand their children, is because they feel they're being close to their children, but when reality is, even then, the child can feel the true emotions is they're trying to do their best to be a parent, not a friend who understands me. You know what I mean? So, and that's very tough. So going through that process, I went and I lived in a city alone. Okay, I moved to Bangalore. All my family was in Bombay and Ahmedabad and a different city. I lived in Bangalore for a while. And I'm living nicely. I had $200 of rent. I had a really nice place. I had a squash court, 2 swimming pools, heated pool, you name it. So I was living the good life. This is back in the day. And my house was a little bit further away. And I didn't care if it wasn't in the city because I just wanted to work. Right? And then I had this huge house. Okay, I would say approximately 100 square meters was the size of the house. But the house was empty. I didn't have any furniture because I didn't care. I just needed a bed. I needed a bed. I needed a desk. I needed my computer. I'm here to work. I'm here to find out what can I do with my life. Now, this empty house, every day, I go to the pool, I hang out. I'm not a sports person, so I'm not doing laps or anything. I'm just chilling in the pool, looking at people, seeing some Indian folks come in, get into the pool also. They're talking business amongst each other because it's a nice neighborhood. And I'm listening to them. They're all talking. They're all busy with their lives and everything. And I go back into my house, start trading and saying, a lot of these people here in this apartment own at least 3 condos, and I'm renting 1. Okay, but I was never interested in real estate. But I was just to do that, it cost a lot of money. And not to mention they still have extra money to spend on liability stuff like cars and depreciating stuff, right? Like buying nice cars. When a nice car is going to depreciate anyways, it just tells you the person has money to blow. Okay, a smart person. If you talk to the person, you'll know how smart or dumb he is. When he drives a nice car, you're going to be like, aha, I see you got your car because you don't care about liabilities. You have enough money. Versus there are people who have nice cars and you're like, oh, well, 3 years, maybe 4 years before you're bankrupt. Okay, good. Congratulations. You're on the right path. So you can tell just by having a conversation of how financially intelligent a person is. Okay. So you're going through this. I'm going through this process now. Okay. No winning system. A year and a half goes by. And then I open up Urban Forex. I thought maybe if I put together a community, the first Urban Forex back in the day, if all you guys remember, some of you guys might remember this, was a social network. I wanted to see how people throw ideas amongst each other, how they discuss things, and how they think and this and that. And I became a spectator. Okay? Because I was a moderator, right? And my job was to stay as neutral as possible. I was forced to be neutral and not biased. And that's where my journey began. Now, today when I look back and I see my key was not the social network. My key was I was forced to be neutral in the mind. That was my winning quality that I never knew until I got towards the later parts of these few years, right? I didn't know that's where the key, the golden key was. I was just thinking, well, to do a nice social network, I want to make sure everyone is happy, so I don't want to pick one over the other. You know what I mean? So I was playing that role, but I didn't realize I'm training my brain to be neutral, to be not judging, to not be biased. And that was an asset for me. That was an asset for me. So going forward, I started to see things from one strategy to the next, to the next, to the next. I'm like, whoa. I like something that I see in this strategy, but I hate the rest. I like something I see in this strategy, but I don't like the other stuff. And I started coming up with my concoction of Urban Towers scalping strategy. Okay, it's one of my first strategies back in the day. Then I came out with the pip milking strategy. My brain started to open. And as I went through it, 2 more years passed down the line, and I'm now approaching pro trading strategy. That's the one with the pivot points and the exhaustion candles. And my brain is starting to evolve. And I'm starting to think outside the box a little bit. I'm no longer relying on, hey, someone please hold my hand and show me. But I did start that way. And my brain started to open up more and more and more and more. Okay? Now, the genius thing, obviously, the coolest thing that I did in these entire years is I didn't quit. That takes balls, okay? I'm going to tell you that. Anyone that I see who says, hey, man, I've been failing for 3 years, but I'm not quitting. For me, it's like you're going to make it. That's it. There is no other answer. You're going to make it. All you need to do is now post-analysis. And that brings us to the topic of today. So I wanted to give you guys a story to show you I too had a difficult past. Okay, in these periods when when I was doing all this stuff, I didn't have money to eat sometimes. Okay, and I was too proud to ask my parents for money, even though of course I knew my parents had money, but I was just at the stage of my father made it, I should make it too. My brothers made it, like it's my turn. Okay. Obviously, during this process, my dad's business went almost close to bankrupt. So now he moved out to the States, and after Korea, he moved out to the States, and then in the States, he's doing the typical Indian thing. I just want some cash flow. I'm happy. I'm old now. He bought a gas station. He bought a convenience store at a gas station. Typical Apu. Thank you, come again. So he went that route. So he opened up a gas station. His suits are gone. He's wearing normal clothes. I see him arguing with little kids for a $1 candy because they're all saying, "Hey, can I get an extra free candy?" Or they're stealing candy, and my dad's looking at him, "Hey, man, what did you hide under your sleeve there?" And I'm just looking at the poor guy. I was like, "What has your life become? You were a guy who used to deal in container loads of textiles and used to do one transaction, $10,000, $5,000, and now you're arguing with little kids for a 50-cent candy because it's principle. It doesn't make any sense." So I felt bad for the guy. But that was his cash flow. He was happy with it, but he was working day and night. So in this whole situation, I was like, okay, well, my journey has begun. I'm not doing so well. I'm going from strategy to strategy. I'm starting to build my own strategies. As I started getting better and better, I started getting into price action. Now, price action required me to think even more outside the box. Then I got into divergence. And I started to realize, indicators really don't work. And then I started to make my own divergence strategies around it. Okay, I'm a pro at pivot points. Let's see what I can do with pivot points and divergence. Okay. You see, once I started to know that I have a skill set, I didn't let go of the skills that I knew was good. That's how my post-analysis started to begin. Unknowingly. And then as I got better and better and better, I met my series of mentors. Okay? First mentor, really, really pro, but for God's sake, he couldn't teach. And man, he was irritated every time I used to talk to him. As if I'm supposed to know this stuff. Of course I'm not going to know this stuff. That's why I'm coming to you for help. Stop getting irritated at me. I'm here. I'm asking for help. But I never fought back because I knew his brain was way ahead of me. So I'm always thinking, how can I ask him the right question so he can answer me the right answer? Because the last thing I want to do is upset the guy and he's going to be like, you know what, we're done. Right? And I don't want to fight my ego because I know he's got the answers. Because I've seen him trade. I've seen him call trades. I've seen him call trades prior to them happening. I've seen him talk about trades while they're happening and saying, I don't like this anymore, I'm going to close it. And then the trade turns the other way. I've seen him take trades, and while it's happening, he'd be like, oh, I'm going to extend my take profit because it's going to go further. And I'm seeing this happen again and again and again. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, dude, you got a crystal ball. And he's telling me, I don't have a crystal ball. I learned what I had to learn, just like you are. But then I had to start opening my mind a little bit by looking at my strength and my weaknesses. And I never understood that. Because for me, it was just, hey man, just tell me what I need to do, and I'm going to put in the hard work into the strategy, and I'm going to make it work. Tell me what I have to do. And it kept coming back to, you know what you have to do. What you're missing is how you think about your trades, how you go about your trades, what you're doing with your trades. Again, that irritation of, God damn it, why do you keep saying that? I don't understand what that means. Okay, so we had a fallout eventually. Because the guy was a little bit rough anyways, and that's okay. I still respect the guy until this day. I still pay him respect. I still visit him, and to all my mentors, I still even give cash. So it's just like a royalty. I thank you for teaching me what you've taught me. I've made X amount of money, I've been very successful, and this is something for me, just as respect. Then I met my second mentor, okay? My second mentor was a little bit more of a different type of guy. He's more disciplined, he's a sports athlete, he's older than me, way, way older than me, but he looks more fit than me, he's more stable in the mind than me, and he hell of a lot trades better than me, even today. Okay, even today. And I'm constantly trying to compete so I can kick his ass. But it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Even today, he's pro because he has his mind on lockdown on how things need to happen. So he starts training me in a whole different way. He points me in the right direction. Okay? Obviously, he's like, whoa, after having a discussion with you for a month, I clearly can see you have a lot of knowledge under your belt. Good. Now throw it out the window. I was like, what do you mean, throw it out the window? He's like, no, I want you to throw it out the window. Because now what I'm about to teach you is going to be very similar to what you know, but if you interrupt me in saying, oh, yeah, that's like this thing, or that's like that thing, he's like, I'm going to throw you out the door. You're going to be gone. I was like, oh, okay. Looks like he's done this before. So I had to shut up and be like, every time he'd say something, my mind would be like, oh my God, that's supply and demand. And he'd be like, hey, I can see you want to say something. Shut up. Focus. I was like, okay. Now, this type of training took a lot of hit on my ego. Because my ego was there that I know this stuff. But he's like, I need you to know this stuff my way. You came to me, remember? So respect your own decision, not my decision to teach you. Respect your own decision. You're here because you want to learn something. So shut up and calm that mind down. Man, that was so difficult because everything he would show me, it'd be like, oh yeah, I taught something like that. I teach that to my students at Urban Forex. He's like, shut up, listen. So over and over again, I'm constantly re-engaging my mind to go back into the creativity and just focus. Just be curious like a little child. Don't try to label it with your own garbage. Just be curious and seeing, does he have a twist to it? What is it? Oh, interesting. Like, keep an open mind. So I started keeping an open mind. And then I started going through the whole process again. The whole price action all over again. Okay? And 50% of the time, I'm just, I know this stuff. But I'm fighting it. It's very difficult to fight it. It's very, very difficult to fight it. But I'm trying to understand this stuff. And then I start to realize, oh, wait. There are subtle changes in the way he's looking at things, which I wasn't. Such as territories and this and that. Like I'm teaching you subtle changes. Everyone knows support and resistance, but subtle changes in support and resistance. Everyone knows supply and demand, but subtle changes. But when my brain got so busy saying, oh, I know this stuff, I would miss the subtle information. The little pieces, the little 1% that I needed to turn my scale from just mediocrely profitable to heavily profitable. So that was my first route. I started calling out trades very, very well after that. I started becoming very good at seeing the market for what it is and becoming very pro at understanding how the markets flow. I started calling out stocks. I started calling out options. I started looking at the market like, so this thing now is not a strategy. It is human behavior. This is how the mind works. And that's where I started coming up with my systems that I teach at Urban Forex, which is like, hey, look how people chase the market. It takes a couple of waves, which is the gauging momentum. It takes a couple of movements before the rubber band man dies down. But that dying down process is when everyone is jumping in. Okay. Now my brain's starting to work. I'm starting to get somewhere. Now, my account balance is going from, $20,000 a year that I was making from trading. Don't forget, when I started trading in the beginning, I was making crappy money. But I was okay because I was living on my own terms. But I was starting to feel satisfied because my rent was a couple $100. I was living in a nice place and I started to feel good about myself. So 20,000 was sufficient. Okay. That was the beginning of the downfall. The sufficient level. There was no performance anymore. There was no, how the hell do I get better? There was just a comfort level of, I'm good. That word, I'm good, is the most dangerous thing that can happen to you. Losses are fantastic because you get to learn from it if you learn from it. But being comfortable and saying, oh, I'm good with what I'm doing right now is actually more dangerous because that's going to make you stagnate. And if you stagnate, markets evolve, you die. Right? It's like having a fantastic hardware store and then the internet comes along and you're like, what happened to my hardware store? Why is no one buying from me? Why is everyone buying online? It doesn't make any sense. Markets will evolve. If you're not aware, you'll die. You can still be in the same industry. You can still do your hardware, but do it online. Do it on mobile apps, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? You can stay in your same profession because you're hardware king. But if the markets of how you play with the hardware changes, you're going to die. Same as in trading. You know how to read the markets, but if systems are changing, you got to move from Forex to, let's say, cryptocurrencies to something else. Yeah, you can still read the charts, but you can't not study these next evolutions of the markets of, oh, what's the next way a system works? Oh, wait, now it's a barter system. People are exchanging gold piece coins for cows. Okay, but you still know how to read the market because all you have to do is understand when people are buying, when people are selling, plot it on a graph, and you're like, I know exactly when I need to buy because people are emotional. So now you have the logic, right? So I had that logic at that stage, but I didn't have post-analysis skills. I went back to my mentor. Now, my mentor is like this douche, right? Okay, I call him a douche, and he's happy to hear it. He charges me every time I go to him. Okay, I have to pay him 5 figures for every meeting. And it's gotten to a point where he charged me the first few times. That's what he requested it. And then the third time, well, I just brought it because I didn't know if he was going to charge me or not. And he just takes the envelope, puts it next to him, says thanks. But he doesn't even open it or count it or anything. It's just like it's a given for him that Naveen's going to pay me anyways. So I meet him because I need to break my mind cycle. And for me, that was more important. Obviously, I'm not making so much money to pay him 5 figures, but I had to pay him, so I pay him. Okay? It's fine because if I can get it right, obviously 5 figures will turn into 6 figures or 7 figures, blah, blah, blah. So I'm still paying it, and I'm like, look, man, I'm at a stage now, I understand how the trading works, but my account balance is not going anywhere. What the hell am I supposed to do? And he's looking at me, he's like, good, you've reached the next level now. And now the next level is performance. Okay? Performance. And he says, performance does not come with your strategy. Performance comes with who you are. So I was like, well, so what does that mean? He's like, well, tell me how how's your daily routine like? What do you do when you wake up? It's like, I don't know. I just wake up. I drink coffee. I will have my frappuccino. I don't drink coffee, but have my little frappuccino. And I'm just chilling. I go to Starbucks, and then I look at the charts. If I see something, I trade. He's like, that's where the problem is. There is no hardcore strict routine in your life. So why do you think when a trade is happening, you're going to have a hardcore strict routine in trading as well? It's like, now you're playing with my mind. What does that even mean? Just because I'm not super disciplined in life like you are doesn't mean I can't trade really well. And he's like, I understand. You can continue that way and you'll always be in that $20,000 range. Or you can take me for my word and start to change your life outside of trading too. Bring in that discipline of being a hardcore. So I started looking for ways I can start to hack my mind into doing stuff. I like to drink Coke, right? Coca-Cola, for those of you drug addicts, I like to drink Coca-Cola. This isn't Wall Street, okay? So I like to drink Coca-Cola. And just to mess with my mind, I was like, I'm going to stop Coke immediately, just as a, practice. I'm going to go to Burger King. I can have my burgers, but I'm not going to order Coke with it. I'm going to order water. Okay. I started to control my mind, and it started to work. I started to feel the discipline. I felt proud of myself, blah, blah, blah. But I hated it because I like Coke. But one thing I did notice is every time I went to order something, I was conscious about not ordering Coke. Normally, whenever I order a meal at Burger King or whatever, all these garbage places, they taste so good, and the Coke comes automatically. So I was like, yeah, why not? So subconsciously, I didn't care. I'd just be like, yeah, I like the burger and the fries and a Coke, please. Thank you. Bye-bye. And then I take my food and go and sit down on the table and eat. But now, every time I'm going to order, it's like, yeah, actually, can I not get the Coke? Can I substitute it for water? I am stepping in consciously. I'm awake. And I'm stepping in and saying, I want this thing changed. I started doing more of that with my real life. I started to eat healthier. Okay? Now I've turned into a freaking vegan. I'm sorry, all of you folks who were planning to do barbecues with me, but so I'm trying this vegan thing. I'm doing vegan stuff for approximately 2.5 weeks now, and I feel great. I'm relying on the I feel great versus my brain wants to eat junk food. Wants to eat junk food again. Like my junk food has turned into, pasta, spaghettis, and this and that, a nice Parmesan cheese on top. Yeah, it's not Burger King anymore like it used to be because I didn't have so much money. But then it's turned into, normal meals, but heavy, greasy, heavy, oily, cheese everywhere. It's great because I used to feel good after I ate it. But after I ate it, I felt lethargic, like, I just need to take a nap now. Okay, that was causing performance issues for me in trading. I'm eating food and I'm feeling sleepy because I ate so much and I felt so good, and my mind was starting to always fight, saying, why do you make money, Naveen, if you can't eat what you want? If you can't do what you want, what's the point of making money? So that was my defense all the time. What's the point of living otherwise, right? Like, that's what everyone comes at you with. Okay, yeah, you're right. That's why. So I started fighting that process. I'm saying, you know what? The brain wants to fight. My slave wants to be the master. Time to make him a slave again. No brain. I don't care what defenses you're coming with. You listen to me. And I started eating healthier. And I'm like, I ate double of what I normally eat. And I don't feel lethargic. This might be good for my body. This is great. I can eat. I can do all the chewing and all that stuff. It doesn't taste good, obviously, all these vegetables and all that crap. But I feel good. I feel good, and I'm able to continue to perform. My hunger level is gone, but I can still continue to perform in my trading. So the next step came with my food, interfering with that. So I'm trying to put in discipline by discipline by discipline and saying, okay. And obviously, I've had my 3 companies in between. I got Urban Forex, Forex Watchers. I got some mobile apps. And in these companies, I'm trying to put in discipline as well. How am I going to motivate my staff? How am I going to make sure we have the best, make sure we have the best customer service on the planet? How are we going to do that? Okay, what can we learn? How can we be better? Then it became a habit. Performance became a habit for me. I do not stop at where I am today. Does that make sense? Yes, where I am today is better than where I am yesterday, but where I am today is now old news. So my eye is where I'm going to be tomorrow. I'm happy with where I am today, and where I was yesterday was beat. So that's my mantra. I keep going. Because progress makes me happy. Progress makes anyone happy. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, if there's progress, you feel good. Okay? Even like I say this sometimes in the psychology sessions as well. If you're a humanitarian, even progress in humanitarian stuff makes you feel happy. You want to stop more people from slaughtering animals, you're going to feel good, right? You want to, put up campaigns that says, no woman abuse or whatever like that, and more people listen, you're going to feel good because that's performance. You're doing better than you did before because more people are listening. So performance is true happiness. This is the same true for criminals and good people. Criminals that like their performance as well. So happiness comes from this performance aspect. Performance does not know right and wrong. It just knows you'll feel good because you know you did more. You did better. Okay, so that's really true happiness, right? Performance. So as you're doing this performance and you're doing post-analysis is now a key of everything that you're doing, you look back on. So in this journey that I was going from that $20,000 mark, right? I was going $20,000 mark, and then as I started hacking my disciplines a little bit, I went from 20 to 30 to 40, and before the year would end, I would end up back around 25. Of course. Can't hold it. Can't hold it. What's wrong here? Why can't I hold the level at 35, 40? Why can't I hold it at 40? What's wrong with me? I started to notice greed start kicking in. Because by quitting my job and moving out to India, my friends used to start questioning me, saying, hey, what are you doing with your life? So there was this ego aspect of, I need to show I'm doing better. That started stepping into my life and interfering in my trades to push the envelope. Once I realized that was a problem, I buckled it down instantly and I said, screw what my friends think. I need to do better myself. My goal is from 20 to 22. And then I made 30. I stabilized at 30. Now I'm still pushing because now, and the trade is running, I'm shortchanging myself because I'm too afraid that I'm going to lose the profit. So I am now taking smaller take profits. Okay. But I started working on that and saying, wait a minute, I'm taking too less from a trade. How can I make this work better? Then I started coming up with strategies for money management. Okay, what I'm going to do is from the area where I would normally exit, I would exit half my position, move my stop loss to 0, and let the other half run. Yeah, that sounds good. Good. Let's do that. But I had the data to back it up saying, hey, if you do this 9 out of 10 times, you're going to make more money. Okay, good. Let's try it. Let's do it. And then the account balance started showing, and I was like, yes, I did it. I am finding a way to be better. Then I was like, let me do the math again. 7 out of 10 times, I can keep the entire position running to hit the take profit of the further one instead of removing half at the first one. But I will still move my stop loss to 0 to control my risk. So now either I make no money or I make more money. Okay, good. I can live with that. Let's do that one. Good. Raise the bar again. 7 out of 10 times now. But the money meant it was more. Now, in that process, I was like, good. That's working. I failed again. Why did I fail if I was making more money? Think about it. Because before I was doing 9 out of 10 times. Now I'm doing 7 out of 10 times. Those 3 times that the trade was going against me and going to break even at 0, I didn't lose any money, but I did see I lost all my profit that I was making in that trade. When that happened 30% of the time, right, 3 out of 10 times, that affected me psychologically. That held my performance going forward. Notice, my skills did not change as a trader. My skills on how to read the charts are still the same. But my mind is the thing that needs working on at this stage, which means I'm using the numbers, I'm using the data, I'm using what I see in front of me to do the post-analysis and saying, I need to kick ass, I need to do better. So I want you to realize that true performance comes from watching your own self and seeing, where did I go wrong in this process? Don't say the process is wrong instantly because everyone else is doing this process in the Urban Forex group and they're doing quite well. So forget the process. You've seen the process work. Step out of that idea. No more strategy hopping. Stand ground and be like, where am I going wrong in the process exactly? Is it my mind? Is it some subtle things that I'm missing? What is the problem there? And then you fix that, and then you do 10, 20 trades on a simulation and see, did I fix it? Good, take the next trade. All right, you're moving, you're working better. Because now you're going to be conscious, just like I was conscious about not ordering Coke when I was at Burger King. You're going to be conscious of not making that mistake when you're in the trade. You're going to be in the trade and you'll be like, whoa. Last time I moved my stop loss too early, and I realized I'm doing that too often. Because I sat down and I thought about it. Not, when I say think about it, I don't mean you close the trade and you're like, oh, I know what I did wrong. Okay. No, that's stupid. That is not going to hold. What you need to do is the moment something goes wrong and you know what you did wrong, stop everything. Take a pen and paper and start to write down your ideas. Why was it wrong? Why did you do wrong? What do you think you can do right? Name 3 different ways you can do it better. When you write it down, your brain realizes this is an issue. This is an issue we need to work on. Because if you just think about it and say, oh, I did something wrong. I know what I did wrong. Okay, next trade. You will never fix it. It's going to take you 100 trades before you get so burned and you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to fix it. Finally, I'm going to fix it. But you're so burned at this stage, you're damaged. You cannot recover. You don't want to psychologically damage yourself like that. If you're wrong, you know where the mistakes are, stop. Instantly stop. Find out what hacks you're going to do for yourself to fix it. Okay? I'm going to put up a whole trading psychology as well for you guys in a course. And I think that's going to help a lot of you guys if you guys are realizing you guys are having psychological burdens. But if you are having technical burdens, that can be fixed so easily. Just have to take a break, stop, do your post-analysis, and find out what happened. Okay, if you fixed it, look at your other previous trades. Does that same situation occur also? Okay, how would you have done things differently? Write them down. Write them down. Don't be too lazy to not write them down. Write them down, but also be sure that you can check back. Okay, verbalize it. Write them down, verbalize it. Discuss it with a friend. Okay, a peer. Okay, maybe not a friend. I mean, he's going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. What is a Euro USD? Discuss it with a peer who's actually in trading, okay? So take these steps, do better, and as always, in the comments below, promise me that this year, okay, this is going to be your year. I want you to write that in caps lock. I want you to feel it, and I want you to put like at least 5 exclamation marks after that, saying this is going to be my year. And as you write it, I want you to emotionally believe it. Believe it so hard that you have the knowledge, you have the skills. All you need now is to break through and prove to the world what you're made of. Most importantly, prove to yourself how much you can do, how well you can do. And then the world rewards you with the side effects. The side effects are luxury, respect, etc., etc. These things are not the goal. These things are side effects of doing well. Okay? So the goal is to do well, and these side effects automatically show up. Okay? So good luck. Full speed ahead. I want to see a comment from every single person below. This is my years with at least 5 exclamation marks. Everything caps lock. Okay? And I look forward to seeing you in the next course or in the next webinar. Cheers.